What's going on, all y'all Zuks Junkies? I know it's been a while since I've filmed. Work's been kind of hectic. I've been coming back and forth from Houston to Corpus, so I haven't had a lot of time to film. I did have a little bit of time to pull the engine out of the Samurai, which I didn't film, but I just pulled it out. That's all I did. I'm actually going to show you guys disassembling the engine. We're gonna check some stuff. I have a little pet project that I've been wanting to do. It's not gonna take a lot of time. It sure as heck isn't long enough to do an entire video for you guys to watch. But I figure, you know, last time when I did the universal joints, I struggled with that little bitty 32-ounce hammer that I had, so I wanna build a larger hammer. So we're gonna do that. I also have an announcement like a little shout out to a buddy of mine that I want to do a little bit later in the video. And that's really all we're going to do this video. Just kind of like a little update, shout out, little pet project. So let's go ahead and let's check it out. So here's the engine, chilling on the engine stand. Where's that piston at? There it is, it's over here. Yeah, so there is that ring landing that is missing. I'm really curious because there was a whole lot of other discrepancies with this motor, so I want to know if this ring landing was too tight originally or if it was right on spec and this was just a cheap Chinese piston. We're also going to throw a new Japanese oil pump on there just because we don't know the history of this, other than, you know, well, the rebuild history anyways. We know that the engine ran. You can see in there, the cross hatching's all still there. I mean, the motor only has 4,000 miles on it. So, you know, it's a very new engine. Yeah, and the other thing I think I'm gonna do, when I pull the motor apart and I send it to the machine shop, remember I told y'all about the catch cam that I put on, this seal got blown out, then it went cockeyed and it got drugged back in and it wore a groove on this rear main seal mating surface of the crank. I'll probably have them machine that out and I'll get a new seal to compensate for it. So that way I don't have an oil leak back here anymore. I'm going to this much trouble. I have to pull the motor apart, so I might as well just do it. So my little pet project. So if you guys watched the first half of the U-joint videos, the disassembly, if you went all the way to the end, I made a comment.
What the hell's going on? I need a heavier hammer instead of hitting it with a purse over here.
And that 32-ounce hammer, where a 32-ounce hammer is standard and fine for most automotive stuff, sometimes you just need a bigger hammer. So I used to have a 4-pound hammer. I deemed it the Chrysler hammer because I got it when I worked for Chrysler and I used it a lot there on suspension stuff, just a heavier weight hammer. But sometimes I found myself needing a larger hammer. You know, some of the benefits to having a larger hammer is the weight of the head. You don't have to use as much effort. You don't have to wind up, and sometimes in a tighter clearance area, you can actually just take the hammer and just drop it and let the weight of the head do the work for you. You don't have to go all banana sandwich with a smaller hammer and get a wind up and just start swinging, and then you get frustrated and then you start hitting other more sensitive components and breaking them. So I went to Home Depot and I got myself a 6-pound sledgehammer. Now, as far as sledgehammers go, this is a baby sledgehammer. I mean, I don't know what you would really use something this lightweight as a sledgehammer for. There's probably guys out there that use it all the time. They probably could tell me. I work in an industrial setting. I told you before, I'm a crane operator. Well, the company I work with now, we construct metal buildings. One of the cool things they do, so they don't have to lay people off, is they move people around. So I do a lot more outside of sitting in a crane, which I actually enjoy doing. It's actually nice to not sit in a crane. You know, you tend to be just really lethargic and complacent just sitting there and just like bored out of your mind. So I've actually done this already with an 8-pound sledge. It's really good for moving columns on studs and getting rafters to line up and stuff. So an 8-pound hammer is really overkill for automotive, especially Suzuki Samurai stuff. So essentially all that we're gonna do is we're gonna take this 6-pound sledge and we're gonna shorten the hammer and we're gonna put a new grip on it, and we're going to have, you know, like a hammer this big. You know, this is what we're gonna end up with. So that's what I wanna do, just because it would have been easier just to dink, 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 you know, try to get those universal joints out of the ears of the drive shaft. Some of them with a larger hammer. So that's what we're gonna do right now, my little pet project. To do this job, you only need a handful of tools. You obviously need your sledgehammer. You know, if you want to just go out and buy a regular dink, dink, dink 4-pound sledge, that's fine. You know, if you want to do 6, if you want to do an 8-pounder, if that's something you're interested in, you know, you need your sledgehammer. However you're gonna wrap it. Old school guys, what they used to do was they would wrap a piece of rope around the handle and then put electrical tape over it, and that would work as a grip. I want to be a little bit flashier, so I went out and got some baseball grip or baseball bat grip tape. Cost $9.99 at Academy. I got the $100 bill one because we're gonna call this hammer the money maker, because every time you swing and hit something, you're gonna make it rain. I want to say that this sledgehammer was $30, I guess, maybe. I've seen some out there that are they're like green handled. They already come shorter. They've got 6, they've got 8-pounders that are already short handled. They're not wooden handles. They're like fiberglass handle, I want to say. They're supposed to be unbreakable. They're rather expensive though. This is a little bit cheaper. I don't know of a place in Corpus that sells them. I knew a place in Texas City when I was there that sold industrial tools, and they sold it, and I remember it being like $50, something like that. So I was like, man, that's a lot of money for a hammer. I mean, even the 8-pound sledge, I want to say it was like $31 or $32. This one might have been cheaper. I can't remember off the top of my head. You're going to need a saw also of some sort. You're going to be able to cut this of some sort. I'm going to use my porta-band. And you're going to need a tape measure to figure out what length you're going to want to use on the handle. I already know what length I want to do just because I did this with the 8-pound hammer. But as a general guide, here is my 32-ounce Craftsman hammer, which I have had since I started in this industry back whenever I was like 17 years old. It has stood the test of time really well. This hammer is like really expensive too. Like, I've done links in the description of my videos and I've just gotten like an Amazon link. This hammer is like $30 or something like that. Like this hammer right here, I'm like, dude, am I paying for Craftsman? Because Sears is going out of business. You know, Lowe's is picking up the Craftsman name, but I'm just like, Jesus, that's like a lot of money for a hammer. You know, especially just something that you're supposed to just whack on stuff. But, you know, everybody knows, you get what you pay for. You know, you cheap out, you know, the head might fly off the wooden handle for all you know. But, you know, we're just gonna use this kind of as like a generalization. So we have 13¼ inches. That is going to be like entirely way too short to utilize this hammer. So I actually remember how long I had it based on the label of the Husky 8-pounder. So there's 13¼ Well, I think I'm gonna go, I want to say I did like 18 inches on my last hammer. That might be a little bit too long for this hammer, but the nice thing about going long is you can always make it shorter. If you make it too short, you can't actually make it longer unless you replace the handle. So that's what we'll do. Oh, and in your tools that you require for this job, a Sharpie too. So we will come over here and we will mark 18 inches. Just as our first cut, just, you know, just to try it out, see how it is before we put the grip tape and all that stuff. Old trusty DeWalt quarterback. So I'm just gonna extend my mark out a little bit, just roughly. Oh, I guess I could use my fence too to kind of keep it zeroed out. There we go. Well, this has got to be the beauty of YouTube for you guys because you're seeing it in real time. This blade is like not cutting anything. I think it got all dulled out whenever I was doing all that stuff with the universal joints. So I need to change the blade. There we go. That's better. Now it's seated. So there it is. I think that's probably a pretty good length right there on its own. On my other one, I didn't keep this rubbery bit on there, but that's actually pretty good for just like that, holding it. Boom. I might keep that on this one. I think that's a good length, 18 inches. So let me clean up the back of this handle a little bit so that way we can start putting our grip tape on. So, like I said, you know, there's different ways to do it. You could do it a little bit cheaper than I've done it. You can just use the rope with the electrical tape, but I wanted to be a little fancier. I actually have a baseball bat grip tape on my 8-pound sledge I use at work. I really like it. It's really comfortable. It was engineered to go on a stick that you swing, so that's what we're going to do right here. So I'm only using one because, I mean, two would probably be way too much anyways. So you just got to get one of these if this is the way you want to do it. They have this little Vulcan wrap that's supposed to go on the end. I used electrical tape on my other one, but this one seems long enough it might work. So when you're applying this, it's fairly long. It's got two tapered ends, and they are backwards of one another. So if you see this taper, it's going down this way, and if you go all the way to the end, the taper's in the opposite direction or on the opposite side. So you want to start with the taper up. So you want to cockeye it like this, because that's how it's going to wrap around. You're going to wrap it an 1/8 of an inch overlap over one another. You'll peel it back a little bit, and you'll start right at the edge. I tried to make that little taper on the back end as uniform as possible, just that way it took the hard edge off, so that way you don't cut yourself or anything like that. And you want to keep it straight. You don't want to overstretch it too much. You want to pull a little bit of stretch, but you don't want to overstretch it too much. And then you just start to overlap it as you go around. Just keep it a little tight. You don't have to go too crazy. And 1/8 of an inch is about the little bit. There's a bump. If you see, see where the grip, the sticky is, and where there isn't, there's kind of like a little like a raised part and a lower part. So you're pretty much going to be laying it into that lowered recess. That's about your overlap. And I mean, this baseball grip tape, or baseball bat grip tape, not baseball grip tape, you're not putting grip tape on a baseball. It is stout stuff. I mean, I use this in an industrial setting. It gets thrown around in my box, gets dropped in the mud, all that stuff. My grip tape isn't coming off yet, so it is actually quality stuff. And we'll come around here, and then that taper is pretty much designed to where it'll run across flat. So now you take this little piece, this is what's going to hold it in place, and I'm going to do it like halfway over it. It's a lot stickier, or a lot more stretchable than the actual grip tape too. Finish it off like that. And voila! We have the money maker. It's about right there. So now I've got a proper hammer for whacking stuff with. Would you be really surprised at what you can get done in the shop with a hammer and a vise? Those like your two like starting tools in a shop. I mean, God bless. I don't have as many hammers here anymore because I divvied them up between this shop and the other shop, but I had like 8 to 10 different hammers, like, you know, like 2 different size brass hammers. I got like an 8-ounce hammer, a 32-ounce hammer, a 16-ounce hammer, and I'm not talking about like carpenter hammer. I mean ball peen hammers, 4-pound, you know, 6-pound now. Bunch of different hammers for doing various different types of, you know, whacking. So we got that done and out of the way. So now we can get on to what I have an announcement about, or a couple of announcements. All right, guys, so a couple announcements, a couple of shout outs. I want to throw a shout out to Suzuki 4x4 of Denmark. Notice the sticker on the fancy Suzuki Samurai community sticker board, I guess, whatever we'll call it. They sent me 2 stickers. It was a while ago. I feel bad that I didn't make mention of it sooner, but I was out of town whenever I even received it. I got it like a month after. I'd seen it a month after I'd even gotten it from working out of town, and then I had it and I hadn't been making any videos, so shout out to them. You should have seen the amount of stamps they had to put on that envelope. The post must have been insane, but I'm on their Facebook page, and I'd seen that they had made the stickers. Like, oh man, those stickers are awesome. I need to get me some of those. And they just sent them to me. I was like, what? That's cool. Somehow they found out my address. I don't know if that's good or not, but Probably one of their guys bought one of my stickers and they got my address that way, I think. Also, 65 Industries. If you guys don't know what 65 Industries is, you should. No, I'm just playing. It's a guy, Sam Cooper. He's a regular working class guy, and he designed, fabricates, powder coats, makes some windshield mounting brackets to mount a 42-inch LED light bar to his Suzuki Samurai. They work on tin tops and soft tops. They are really, really cool. They are very good quality. Come with these little rubber pieces so you don't mess up your paint. Hardware, he sends you some nutserts and stainless steel hardware, which if any of you have ever gone to buy hardware, you know it's expensive. You know, he does all this. Some spacers and some mounting screws for the light bar itself. He sells it for like $50 or $55 shipped. That's awesome price, awesome price. He even sent me a 42-inch LED light bar, which is something else I need to let you guys know about. So before I had made mention of a different company that Sam was using to source the lights, well, now Sam has become a distributor for the lights. So whenever you order so before I used to have to order the bracket and then get the light bar separate. So now, whenever you order the brackets, he can actually have them drop ship from the company to your door, the light bar. He can get the 7-inch LED projector headlights like mine, or the ones with the marker / blinker light LED ring, whole bunch of different stuff. Pod lights, whatever. You can actually go through Sam Cooper now to do that. So that's really cool. Shout out to him. Somebody else, I need to put a sticker of his up there. If I think I have a sticker. Is Zackery Fleagle of Dr. Z's Fabrication. Now, if you don't know what that is, he does stuff for Jeeps as well as Samurais. I feel like he has some more stuff for Samurais though. On my tin top, the YJ conversion kit that I use is actually Dr. Z's or Zackery Fleagle's. He draws them up in his own CAD program. I think he cuts them out himself, or he might have that sourced. I don't know. Man, I cannot say enough nice stuff about his products. He also has, whenever I pulled the motor, I just pulled this out. This is the shackle bushing transmission mount that I showed you guys. It is super beefy. It comes with all the hardware. It comes with the bushings, everything. It doesn't come painted. It comes bare metal. I had this powder coated. He also has a kit for reinforcing the driver's side mount of the transfer case. You know, it's got the same design. It's got the Z, it's got the diamonds, it's got the circles. It comes with a reinforcing plate. You might have remembered that whenever I did the Zuks Offroad panning liner, I made my own plate. Well, this is where I got the dimensions for it. Zach includes that in it. So this will be going on the budget build. So don't you worry, you'll get to see his in action getting installed. It is beefy. It is 1/4-inch steel plate. It is heavy duty. Probably overkill, but you know, I'd rather be over than under, that's for sure, especially with that. The kit for the YJ conversion, awesome. Super cool. Actually, let me show you something I had him do for me. This is something that I have never known another company to do. So with that YJ kit, on my tin top and my application, the rear squats, well, I told you guys a long time ago that the truck was in an accident on the driver's side. So the driver's side squats more than the passenger side. So I had asked him, I was like, hey, is there any way that I could get longer shackles to kind of even it out and raise it? So I want to say that originally from hole to hole, it's 5 inches. So he CAD designed them, cut them, and welded them up for me. Not because I'm Elk Motorsports, he did this before I started the channel. So he did this just for a customer. He made me a 6-inch, and he made me a 7-inch. So as you can see, he made this. You know, this isn't something that he does in his kits. You know, like I requested it and he did it for me, and I think it was like 50 bucks shipped, I want to say. $50 or $60 shipped, something like that. Those two things, you know, like that is pretty cool that, you know, like that he's like a company and he builds kits, but he kind of did something that I requested. You know, I mean, it was probably already CAD drawn up, so he just increased the lengths of the sides. You know, he has these cut out like this, all these cutouts. Well, that's kind of for like production, you know, so he can build these two pieces and have a whole bunch of them. And then he just makes this, and then he has these spacers to go from the larger diameter leaf spring bushing to the Samurai bushing frame, you know. So along with the Stinger, that is actually a do-it-yourself front bumper kit, stubby front bumper kit. He had made one for a customer and he thought about like, man, this might be a cool do-it-yourself. So I made a comment on his Facebook post about it. I was like, dude, I would totally love that bumper, like as a do-it-yourself. He's like, well, you know what? You'll be my guinea pig. I'll send it to you. Back before the channel, like a year before the channel, you know, he didn't send me the hoops for the for the Stinger. I just had a local shop bend me up a piece of tube with some excess, and I cut them and made them for the side bracing. So that was my own thing. Awesome product. But the reason why I'm name dropping him, or, you know, giving him a shout out, is right now he is involved in a competition, and he built a tube chassis like a rock crawler, right? So I want you guys to go and vote for him, you know? So you're probably asking, well, what are you getting out of it? Well, it's not so much of what I'm getting out of it, it's what everybody's gonna get out of it. So if he wins that, he's gonna do like 20% off of his store. Everything on his store. He's got Jeep stuff, he's got Suzuki Samurai stuff. He's even talked about possibly doing a YJ leaf spring conversion kit giveaway. Maybe one or two, I don't know how many he's gonna do, but just to let you guys know, that's like a $500 value. It comes with the frame reinforcement plates for the front, comes with both front shackles, it comes with the piece that bolts on the front is the bump stop for the second shackle. It comes with the upper shock tower, the lower shock mounts for front and rear. You know, it comes with everything short of shocks and leaf springs. I don't know. He might do the spring purchase in his kit now for the actual axle housing, or that might be something that you have to ask for. I can't remember, because when I bought my kit a long time ago, I bought it in advance of actually doing it, like a year in advance, so like 2 years ago, 3 years ago now. I didn't need them, you know, so it was something that you bought this kit if you'd already done a spring over axle swap. So, which I think he does this kit in a variation so you can do spring under too, I think. Don't quote me on that. You gotta check out his website. I will leave a link of his website, and I'll leave a link of where you go to vote. Will actually go up right now, and I'll see if I can show you, you know, what it looks like and what you're gonna be looking for to actually vote. So let's go check that out. Okay guys, here we are. This is their website. The website is www.weldingsuppliesfromioc.com. Now I'm going to put a link in the description that should bring you here. And so this is the page that should come up. So you'll go over here to view projects and vote. Right? So his is right here. 1 month ago. You need to be careful because look, there's another Samurai over here. I don't know whose that is. But you come over here to view image, and it will be it'll probably have a different amount of votes, but it'll say tube chassis I built. And just go to vote now. And they'll ask you if you're a robot. I'm not a robot. You're like, no, I'm not a robot. And there you go. You just voted. That is how easy it is. Just to let you know, I'm not being paid by Zackery Fleagle. He didn't ask me to do that to, you know, kind of like throw a shout out, and none of these people have, actually. I wanted to, whenever I saw the Facebook post that he's gonna do like 20% off of his store, I was like, man, that would really be cool, especially around the holidays, for everybody in the Suzuki Samurai community, you know, maybe gifts you want to get for somebody or a gift you want to get yourself. So I'm just kind of like doing my part to help out. You know what I mean? Just kind of like spreading the word. So that's kind of like what I want to do. But you know, you're not obligated to have to vote. You know, if you have already, or if you haven't, you're not interested, then, you know, just do whatever you want to do. There's no, you know, requirements to do anything. But I want to thank y'all for watching. I know we didn't get really anything done in the shop. I don't have a lot of time this afternoon. I got to go back to Houston to work for the week. But I just wanted to throw something together, throw some shout outs, do a little pet project I've been wanting to do. But like always, if this was content that you enjoyed watching, be sure to smash that like button. And if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can stay up to date on what I've got going on in one of 2 shops. And I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace. Where's my Sharpie at?